Hey everybody, good morning. Josh Hannenberg here, Truck Focus Podcast. I hope you're having a really good day. It is Thursday and just looking outside. I just live in Calgary, Alberta, and it is just stunning out. So I know when you head east, Winnipeg area is kind of getting blasted with the last little bit of winter. Same with when you head west. There's some serious snow happening through just the Rockies, the Coquihalla-Rogers Pass, and just with the road closure even at Kicking Horse by Golden, BC. There's just, different challenges right now that we all need to be attentive to because it impacts all of us. So we may not be the professional drivers behind the wheel, but we're influencing them, we're impacting them, and hats off to just the continued hard work that they're doing. So if you happen to be traveling through, say, Highway 1, and you have to take the detour through Radium, BC, which is stunning, please just be patient. Professional drivers, when they're fully loaded, over 100,000 pounds, it's a slow haul, especially when you're climbing 11% grades, 8% grades, and then same thing when you're declining, when you're going slow downhill, so that way, in the event you need to stop, you can navigate some of those turns. You can do so safely. So first off, also, I'm a Timmy's fan, and I'm also a massive Starbucks fan. So there's an awesome Starbucks that I try and go to some mornings, and cheers to Starbucks East Hills, Calgary. So thanks for all that you do. So just a quick video this morning, just talking about driver retention for small, mid-sized carriers. Maybe you don't have all of the correct staff in place. And when I say correct, I mean driver recruiters, different levels of human resource managers, all of the good stuff. So just some really simple, applicable pointers that small carriers, mid-sized carriers can do when they're recruiting drivers to ensure that they have a high driver retention, so drivers aren't quitting within the first couple of months. First off, I highly recommend monitoring how you talk as leaders. So if I'm speaking to the owner, if I'm speaking to a dispatcher, if I'm speaking to the shop manager, whatever your position is of a leadership role, I highly encourage you to monitor how you speak to people. So it doesn't have to be to a professional driver directly. It could be to your staff. It could be to a senior leader. It could be what you say after you talk to someone that's the owner. So say you're in a dispatch position, you talk to the owner, and then the owner leaves, and you say some maybe not the most nice things. Professional drivers, when they first start out, they want to know, what kind of atmosphere am I in? Am I in a safe place where I can share just how I'm doing, how I'm feeling? Can I build friendships? Can I build relationships? And when they see, again, as a newer employee, maybe a newer owner operator, whatever it is, hey, these guys are just bashing each other. Hey, these ladies are just like hating on each other. In their mind, they're thinking right away, this isn't the place for me. And I can say that with confidence because I've been there. I've been in environments as a professional driver where I was like, you know what? No, like, I don't like this. It's just too hostile. So that's the first thing. Monitor how you speak. And then if you notice that you're the type of person that wants to complain, wants to bicker, I would just encourage you to change that a little bit. And I'm not saying you have to necessarily revamp your whole life, but sometimes it's just keeping things to yourself, especially around newer people that are trying to kind of navigate their way in the company. Second thing, don't pressure anyone ever to break the law. I'll say it again, do not pressure anyone to break the law. So there's a lot of different legislation that professional drivers follow while they're over the road, and that responsibility goes to the dispatcher, and it also goes to the owner of the company as well. So hours of service is a massive one. So if you're a federal carrier, you have 13 hours of drive time, you can't drive after 14 hours of on duty, 16-hour work shift, all that good stuff. Do not ever pressure someone to exceed those limits. So that's part of it. But at the same time, while we still finish the tail end of winter, if someone's saying, hey, honestly, I cannot make it in there, it's not safe, and there's no real safe places for me to stop, let's listen to professional drivers that are in the field. So again, tip number 2, never enforce, never push, never make someone or try and make someone break the law. So that way you threaten them with, which I've heard countless times in my own experience, if you don't do it, you're fired. Okay, well, I would rather quit than be in an environment where I'm putting my life and others' lives at risk because I fall asleep at the wheel. And that's just one example. Cargo securements, weights and dimensions. If a professional driver's hauled, say, large excavators before, and you're trying to tell them to put 2 on a triaxle trailer, chances are they're going to say, you can't do that. And we got to listen. So that goes to my third point, listening. So professional drivers bring a wealth of knowledge. Doesn't matter if they've had their license for 5 minutes, which there's different requirements in my opinion for carriers versus someone that has 30 years experience, but let's listen to the advice that they share. They have so much knowledge. They have so many, like one of my really good friends and mentors, his name's Andy, my friend Steve, my friend Dion. They've been driving for probably as long as I've been alive or close to it kind of idea. Maybe not, but you know what I mean, a long time. And I'm fascinated when I hear them just dissecting problems after the fact to me, because I listen, versus when they're in the field and they're arguing with a dispatcher, like, why don't we navigate it this way? Why don't we do it this way? We're still serving the customer. We're still meeting the end goal. We're just doing it safely and legally. So tip number 3, listen. Tip number 4, have safe equipment. So in Canada, most provinces identify with Schedule 1, major minor defect, and that's a very basic, in my opinion, outline that a professional driver, mechanic, dispatcher, and owner can follow to say, does this vehicle that I'm about to drive, or does this vehicle that my professional driver is about to drive, is it safe? So if you can dissect based off of Schedule 1, major minor defect, there's a marker light put out. That is a defect. That goes onto the trip inspection report. How long do you expect a professional driver to feel comfortable, A, operating on a roadway, but also crossing scales, going through blitzes with law enforcement with a known noticeable defect before they're kind of like, this is making me nervous, because it's their driver's license, it's their commercial abstract, but it's also your carrier profile. So we'll talk about those in a different video at a different time. But make sure that we're offering safe equipment and we're offering solutions to fix defects. So minor defect, a light, such as a headlight, such as a marker light, an ABS light, something like that, half an hour at most, depending on weather, I guess, that it would take to fix something like that. So equip our professional drivers with the skill set and the supplies to fix minor defects to avoid all of that concern. Because again, speaking from experience, I couldn't stand being in an environment where I knew the truck I was driving had multiple defects, and I was kind of like, can't tell anyone because they're not doing anything, and get to a point where you just stop recording on your trip inspection report because you think it's a waste of your time. And that's not how the process works. There's legislation in place on purpose to ensure safe vehicles are on the roadway. And even a marker light makes a vehicle unsafe. Yes, it's a minor. Yes, you can still operate it, but it makes it unsafe. So let's make sure that we're fixing that. And finally, tip number 5 is pay. So I don't want to dive in too much on the hierarchy of pay, the amount of pay. What I want to really speak on right now is consistency of pay. So me personally, again, I'm just speaking from experience, so that's why I'm confident to share. I know what it's like going a month with the promise of being paid every 2 weeks and still waiting for a paycheck. And maybe shame on me. Maybe I should not have been as trusting as I was, but I felt like the owner was a good guy. And I was like, you know what? Okay, we'll keep trying. And yeah, it took over a month to get paid when I was supposed to be paid every 2 weeks. So whatever commitment you make to professional drivers for pay, you have to stick to it. So I know business can be tough. I understand that. I remember what it's like as an owner not paying myself to ensure our drivers and our mechanic bills were paid. And it sucked. It was terrible. It was stressful. But at the end of the day, professional drivers are humans. We have families. We have people we care about. We have lives outside of work. We have bills to pay. We have all that stuff. So just consistency with pay is crucial. And I promise you, if you focus on those 5 things, well, maybe promise isn't the right word, but I can assure you with confidence that by doing those 5 things, by those 5 pointers, you're really going to you're going to see a change in your driver retention from a small carrier standpoint, even a mid carrier standpoint, because people feel like they're part of the team. They don't feel pressured to break the law. They're heard, and they're not afraid to speak. They're not afraid to help problem solve. They have safe equipment, and they know at the end of the day they can take care of themselves and their families, which is essentially why we're working so hard. So thank you so much for checking in today. I just really encourage you to just continue to create a pivotal impact. Stay focused on doing the right thing at the right time, and I promise you the right decision is not always the easy one, but it's worth it. So thank you so much. I highly recommend that you subscribe to this our YouTube channel, the Truck Focus Podcast. Just hit the red button. Check out all the links below to all of our socials. We have a website, obviously. We have our actual Truck Focus Podcast, where I bring my industry experts to you to help create a pivotal change. We have the Truck Focus blog, and we're working on a couple other cool things that I really feel are going to impact our industry. So have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Thanks again for checking in. Bye.